After the original Starkiller, whose real name was Galen Marek, died at the hands of Emperor Palpatine in a desperate attempt to save his friends, Darth Vader's plans to train a secret apprentice that would one day aid him in killing the Emperor, his Sith master, were seemingly squandered. However, Vader thought back to the clone troopers he had fought beside during the Clone Wars. Here, Vader formulated the idea to return to the planet of Kamino and yet again secretly commission them to experiment on the recovered body of Galen. He did this in hopes that they could successfully create a perfect clone of Galen without the inner light that laid within him. Unfortunately for Vader, the experiments were an utter disaster at first, with many of the clones born with physical disabilities. However, this was nowhere near as severe as the mental handicaps the clones faced. We are still left with hundreds upon hundreds of abject failures. While they no longer try to kill anything that comes near them, they are nearly insensible. Each clone was forced to undergo what Vader referred to as memory flashes in order to accelerate the training of the clones. Vader did this to make up for lost time, as he did not have the availability to fully train yet another secret apprentice. Because of this, Vader used the memories of Galen to attempt to instill them within the clones. He did this in hopes that the clones would each learn what Galen had during his lifetime. However, with the flashes of training and abilities learned in Galen's life also came memories of his past, specifically his relationship with now rebel pilot Juno Eclipse. This was the major crutch that each Starkiller clone faced, as they slowly fell into madness for their past. This, in addition to Juno and the inability to accept that they were in fact clones and not the real Galen Marek. I'm not Starkiller, not the original Starkiller anyway. I'm a clone, grown in a vat by Darth Vader to take the old Starkiller's place at his side. Concerned by the light that still lay within the clones and the various problems they faced because of Juno, Vader devised a plan to use DNA salvage from his Sith Master's first apprentice and specially trained Sith assassin Darth Maul to integrate into a single clone of Starkiller. Vader hoped that by using the inherent and strong relationship to the dark side that Maul possessed would cancel out the light that Galen eventually inherited. However, as Vader would learn, Maul himself was extremely unstable during his life, and at times became an utter savage in the heat of battle. Vader, however, went ahead with the production of the clone that would have a hybrid of both Maul's and Galen's DNA, dubbing him Maulkiller. Vader's initial concerns were, however, proven correct, as instead of the personalities balancing each other out, the instabilities of both subjects made Maulkiller nearly impossible to control. However, Darth Vader believed he could break him. In order to train Maulkiller, Vader gifted him two lightsabers, both with rare silver crystals. Vader then used on Maulkiller memory flashes of both Darth Maul and Galen Marek. What resulted was what Vader considered to be the most naturally powerful and skilled of all the Galen clones. Maulkiller was by far the fastest and strongest of the clones, as well as the best fighter. However, Vader's theories were proven correct, as despite attempting to tame the beast, he was by all accounts insane. More insane and savage in fact than any of the other clones. The mixture of the DNA only created a monster, and a monster not suitable as an apprentice. Because of this, Vader was forced to dispose of Maulkiller, but the stormtroopers and Imperial forces sent to do so were not powerful enough, and Maulkiller butchered them all. This impressed and both struck fear within Vader, as he wished he could somehow control the beast that was Maulkiller, as he was insanely powerful and could prove useful. However, upon personally witnessing the scene of the slaughter, Vader knew all hope of adopting Maulkiller as a suitable apprentice was gone. Maulkiller's insanity was too much for him to be of any use to Vader, as his training would be nearly impossible. Vader was then forced to personally confront Maulkiller within his training room. Once entering, the normally fearless Vader was concerned with how he would stack up against the might of the Starkiller Maul hybrid. Fortunately, however, Vader did manage to destroy the beast, as he used his superior experience and intelligence to defeat his monster. Vader then moved on to producing more clones of just the regular Galen Marek, deeming the mixture of Maul DNA too extreme, even for a Sith apprentice. So what are your thoughts on the failed hybrid clone known as Maulkiller? What do you think the Star Wars universe would look like if Maulkiller was actually a success and became Darth Vader's next secret apprentice? Do you think that the combined power of Vader and Maulkiller could destroy the Emperor, or would Maulkiller yet again prove to be too unstable? And as a final question, out of curiosity, have you ever heard of the story of the failed clone Maulkiller before this video? And what two Star Wars characters do you believe would make the best hybrid clone? If you would like to join me in the daily Star Wars discussion and debates, follow me on Twitter at StupendousWave. Link will be in the description. If you enjoyed this video and feel it deserves it, it would really help me out if you could leave a like. If you haven't already, consider subscribing to the YouTube channel to keep up to date with everything Star Wars related, from news, explanations, and theories from a galaxy far, far away. If you have any video topics you would like to see addressed in a future video, do not hesitate to leave them in the comments below the video, or again, tweet them at me. As always, your viewership and support means the world. May the Force be with you, and have a great day.